Hey guys, Kelly Walters here, and in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to create the art that we used for the how to create a Chenille-like logo using only HTV. You guys had some excellent questions on that video, so if you haven't watched it, go watch it really quick and come back. But there were questions about how we created the art, the font that was used, and how to separate the layers. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that using our Stahls vinyl designer. Stay tuned. All right, guys, before we get started, there's a couple of different ways that you can actually create this art in the vinyl designer platform. But I am going to show you how it's easiest to create the art. So hopefully this will save you time. It'll make your production much easier. And I'm also going to show you why we are doing it a certain way. I think it's best to understand why one way makes more sense than the other. That way you can choose which route you want to go. But hey, I prefer fewer clicks and I prefer shorter time to get things done. And I think most people are like myself. So just remember, if you are not wanting to do a chenille style, or maybe chenille isn't your customer base, then switch it up. Use glitter flake, roll with soft foam. There's plenty of materials out there that you can create to or use to create a really cool effect by using 3 different types of media. So without further ado, stop what you're doing, go to stahls.com, log in, and if you do not have an account, then register because it's free. In order to access the Stahls Vinyl Designer, you do have to have an account. But again, it's free to have an account. It's free to register. We're not going to come back and say, hey, we're charging you for this now, because that's the perk of going to stahls.com and utilizing this platform. So when I pull up my screen, you'll see that I'm already logged in, and it's going to look like a product page because in a sense it is, but just keep scrolling down. If you're wanting to follow along, either make notes, that way you can go do this on your own time, or just simply hit pause, create, and then play to keep going. So let's switch the camera over. Okay, so here we are at stahls.com, and like I said, you will need to be logged in. Otherwise, instead of getting this screen, you will get a screen to prompt you to log in order to use the program. So when you click the vinyl designer, it pops you to this window. It looks like you're in a product page, but just keep scrolling down and you'll see this blue window. If everything else above here annoys you, select full window, and then you can have this completely open in a larger working space. So right here, some quick little starts. You can select files, import, text, clip art. You can read. If you are needing to create from the beginning and it's only words or clip art that Stahls is offering you, just go ahead and get started. Otherwise, you can choose to either import what you need and adjust, or start with text. So we're going to go ahead and start with text. So by clicking on that, it's going to automatically take you to a text box. So from here, you can just type game day, select add. But if you notice, this is in a horizontal line, and we want 2 different lines. So all you have to do is hit enter, and now we've got line 1 and line 2. Now from here, you could just easily go ahead and add your contour. So I'm going to show you that just really quick. We'll go to effects, add new, and we're going to scroll down, and we are going to go to large contour. By selecting this, it's going to go ahead and add the contour that you need. And then from there, we'll kind of keep editing. But I want to show you a cool little easy trick. If you're going from project to project and maybe you don't want to hit add text every time, all you have to do is go into your effects, scroll down, and you can actually hit large contour, and it's going to pop up a C for you. So this is a C already contoured. Double click it and change it to game day. Now, if you notice, our fonts are different, and that's okay. I'm going to show you how to change those. So double click again, and just remember that we want to have day below. Now, from here, to change our font, we are going to hit edit, select font, and there's several different options that will kind of work for this academic sports type of style. I'm going to select academic, and as you can see, that's going to change my font, and we're going to go ahead and do that for both. So again, that was Stahls Athletic as the font, but I want academic. All right, now for the most part, we're neck and neck in terms of the amount of steps. This one just automatically pops up the contour, and you change the C from game day. Game day is how we just started with text, and we added the contour. So I'm going to delete this so we only have one to work with. The next thing I'm going to show you is by adding another effect, we're just going to hit large contour, and as you can see, the gray just looks like it got bigger. But when you select on the color grid to change it, you only see two colors. So anytime you change the gray, it's going to look like it's one big giant color. So my recommendation for you is to go ahead and adjust that gray color. It doesn't have to be 100% set in stone right now. It just needs to be something. That way you can see the three colors that you're going to have. So again, we're going to go back to effect, add new, large contour. And as you can see, we've got our three colors with our three different layers. Now, next, what we can do is change the color by everything being combined. We could separate the layers and change the colors that way. But I am a visual person, and I like to see everything stacked like it would come out, say, on the garment. So we're going to keep the middle color, kind of this light gray, to represent white. Our black is going to go to a really, really soft pink. And if you haven't seen that video, we used pink soft flock. And then the next, I'm going to change this gray to be kind of, well, that is not gold. Kind of going for a metallic gold look on what it looked like as a finished product. So now you can see we've got our three completely different layers. Good to go. Where the issue is going to shape, breaking apart by color. And then as you drag your colors apart, you notice that third layer that we added now has some cavities in it, and that's going to create a cut line with your cutter. I don't want that. I want to be as smooth as possible. So I'm going to undo to where we are back to two layers. What I want to do next is go ahead and shape, break apart by color, and separate my first and my second layer, or I guess my top and my second layer. I'm going to add a contour around game day. So it's giving me that third layer that I need. But when we separate the two layers, that bottom layer is going to be nice and smooth, and we will not have to do any weeding of little tiny cut lines or cavities. Dragging that game day right back on top. As you can see, it's not centered. I'm going to select, hit arrange, and I'm going to do center middle. And now you can see that everything looks just like it was prior to getting started. Now, we select the logo, you'll see that there's only two because our entire logo is not combined. So we're going to select that, hit shape again, and we're going to group it all together. That way, if I come in and resize, I don't have to worry about potentially grabbing one layer and adjusting it. I move the logo and all three go. So let's go to the colors. I'm going to change my back gray to like this gold. Oh, I did it again. And then I'm going to change my top layer to this really, really soft pink. So for the most part, our logo is done. If I hit ungroup and then separate or break apart by colors, you can see that gold is nice and clean. Okay, so from here, what I want to do next is we're good to go. If we wanted to make this larger, we could. Now, if you want to get a little fancy and change it up just a little bit, you want more control over the distance of each letters, how detailed each outline is going to get. This is how you do that. So I'm going to delete this. We're going to start with large contour, double click. We're going to go to game and day. Now, if you notice, below we've got font size and character spacing. So I'm going to increase our character spacing just, well, there we go. Just a little bit, because now each little letter is going to have a little bit more detail in the outlines or the contour. I'm going to hit edit, change the font, go to academic, and now you can see our letters are, our words, letters are separated, and we get more detail, especially around the M and the A. Now from here, just like I said, let's go ahead and change that middle layer to that gray. Let's change the pink to that soft pink. Shape, break apart by colors. And then again, add shape, or excuse me, large contour is already open. And boom. So easy. You can see that we've got more detail and separation in our letters for the words game and day. Now, the next thing that I want to show you is the effects in the contour. So by selecting contour and hitting matte pencil, we have the ability to change our offset to change the distance outside of each layer. So as you can see, our gray is increasing in size, and it's also getting smaller simply by holding and clicking the offset and going up and down. Steps actually gives you an outline, and of course, combine goes ahead and knocks out our design. Okay, so now you can see that our gray is even a little bit smaller. Now, because we chose to separate the first layer from the second, we can no longer go in and edit the white or the light gray layer. So in this particular case, as you have gone in and you have changed your colors, you've separated everything that you need to, this would be the time that you go into shape, you go into effects and adjust your contour. Now, remember, the white could be the base layer, and we actually have gold around it. You can really just choose however color you want to stand out the most. We used metallic gold and white ultra weed in the chenille video, and metallic gold cannot be layered on top of metallic. However, you can put metallic, say, on top of ultra weed. So a couple of ways to do this. Let's go ahead and make our outline outside of game just a little bit smaller. Change our colors. Add another contour. So as you can see, that completely changed and made the gray and the pink pop just a little bit more. Break apart by color. Shape. I keep saying shape and we need to go to effect. Add contour. And now when all three are on top, we get that same look as if we were just doing it in one setting versus breaking apart the colors. So from here, there's a couple of ways that we could look at this. You could create an outline with the white. That way, the second layer, which is gray, would just be the metallic gold around the pink. If you would prefer to have the logo lighter on the garment, then you could do a metallic gold outline and then have your main base layer as white and then your pink on top. If you don't mind going 3 layers deep on a shirt, then you would just need to make sure that your top layer, or excuse me, that metallic is actually an outline, so your soft flock can sit and adhere to ultra weed. So what we're going to do is take and break apart by colors. Then we're going to select the layers again, hit shape, and then we're going to slice. So slice is going to give us that outline that we need. So what you could easily do is apply game day first on your garment. Then your second layer is going to be your metallic gold. And then your top layer is going to turn around and be your soft flock. It's going to look like you have 3 stacked layers, but in reality, you have 2 very thin layers that are not on top of each other. And then you're putting your soft flock on top of the white. This is great for better movement, to not feel like you have a really thick logo on your chest. But again, the beauty of heat transfer vinyl is there are a variety of ways to layer or create a layer-like effect. In this particular case, we turned around and we created an outline. We have our lighter color that is going to be our white, and then our soft flock, which will adhere on top of that. The only other way to, do an outline on top of your game day is by creating actually 2 more layers and then doing a knockout with 1. That way you've got 2 layers that are identical in size, but it's just an outline on top of a material. That sounds way more confusing than what it really is, but talking through it versus doing it doesn't make sense. And honestly, this is going to be the fastest, the easiest, and the best weight for any garment. So to make sure that these are all centered and ready to go, we hit arrange, center, middle, and as you can see, our art has nice spaces. It's got breaks. It's going to be great for movement. We've used the least amount of material for the garment. You're still going to have the same amount of waste, whether or not it was on a shirt or not. But to the customer, to somebody looking at the garment, they would have no idea that 2 of those layers are actually fairly small in size and sitting next to each other versus on top. Okay, so from here, you can still go in and change the colors if you're doing this for a variety of different customers, then you can adjust it that way with whatever color they want. Now, how do you get your art? How do you send it to your cutter? How do you get to the next step? You're going to go to File, hit Export, and then as you can see, you can choose to export as a PNG, a DXF, PDF, SVG, and then a V-cut is CADWorks. And I talk a lot about CADWorks and the Vinyl Designer. So if you were doing something with Vector Cut, which is the cutting software for CADWorks, then you could easily use that file for that. Okay, so once you select, you name it, choose your DPI, you're good to go. Make sure you save your art. That way you can always come back and edit it. And then, of course, let's say you're still not happy with, you just want it to be bigger. Let's zoom back a little bit. You can, oh, I've only selected one art. So perfect example was I had only selected one color. So let's go ahead and go to shape and hit group. That way, if I click one part of this logo, they're all moving together. I can shorten this just a little bit, make it a little bit bigger from here. If I wanted to do a complete regroup of how close day was to game, I would have to go in and break apart by objects, and it would break it apart by each color and each letter. So it becomes a little more time conducive to sit there and not set it up perfectly how you want it from the beginning. But just remember, create layer 1, which would be your initial text, add that large contour, adjust your size, adjust your spacing, and adjust your font, separate, and then add the second or first layer to that first contour. Okay, guys, so this was it. A lot of you, not a lot, there were still a couple of you that had asked about sizing. And just to give you an idea, if we were to take this to 11 inches, that's only 7 inches in height. And we want this to definitely be more of a power statement. We want it to be seen from a far distance. So you can choose how big you want to go. But this being on a sweatshirt, I feel like you have a little bit more room for size versus a t-shirt. Okay, well, I know that was a wordy video. I know there were a lot of different steps, but hopefully by seeing just using the large contour and then going in and changing your font, changing your colors, changing the spacing of each letter, separating by colors, adding another layer, showed you how much quicker it was than going in individually and creating different lines, but it can be done. So I hope this helps, guys. Again, I know it was a little bit longer video, but there's so many different things that you can do to enhance or just slightly change this art and make it look completely different. So get in there, play around, take the notes, follow along, rewatch this video 3 times, do whatever you got to do. But I promise once you create it the first time, you'll go, oh my gosh, that was so easy. And then application will be flawless. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm Kelly Walters. Have a wonderful day.